comment is, yay! Thank you, Councilman Wright. He's led the charge, but every council member up here has had some part of it, even if only just encouraging that it happened. So it's going to be quite a feather in our cap, a lot of work to be done still, and even some possible pitfalls, but I think you have the dedication of 9 members up here, plus the manager, to get that done. So if you've been watching council meetings before, council has put on a push to begin videoing as many civilian committee meetings as practical, and I promised to go on a tour of most of those that could be caught in that net. And so far I went to the Trails Committee, who interestingly voted unanimously no. And when I say vote, this is their opinion. It is a decision of council. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to hear their comments, because you never know, there might be a good point. Their main point was that they are civilians, they are volunteers, and they did not want, some of them may not want to be confronted by people in the supermarket asking them, why were you excuse me, why were you against this or that? I thought about that long and hard. Excuse me. And my point was, yes, they're volunteers, and they had contrasted that to council members who are elected officials. My point to them is they are appointed officials. They are government, and anyone on any of these committees should not mistake for the fact that they are members of government. They have our ear. The Trails Committee has more power about trails than the average citizen. So I would still advocate that. I did speak to a number of council members about this, and they thought a phasing in period might be useful. And so there is consideration to, as soon as we can get this up and running logistically, that perhaps for the rest of the year, meetings would be videoed, but relatively few new meetings would be shown on FTTV, and then after the new year, maybe we would start showing more and more of them on FTTV. So they'd be videoed and perhaps available on the internet, but not necessarily on FTTV. There might be an exception or two to that. I then went to, not in chronological order, Shade Tree, Environmental, and Open Space, and they all voted unanimously yes. They expressed some of the concerns that I mentioned, but they felt that the need of the public to be able to witness their government outweighed the concerns of the individual members. I then went to the Human Relations Committee meeting and was not able to attend the whole meeting. There was a lot of discussion about it, a lot of confusion, and when I went back and I caught the end of their meeting, there had been no final vote made about that, and they're going to discuss it further. I went also to the Redevelopment Agency. They are an agency. Council does not have the authority to tell them what to do, though Councilwoman Kimberly Francois and Councilman Carl Wright are on that, and they on the Redevelopment Agency, so they can certainly express their opinion there. But they appreciated my comments, and they will get back to us on that. So that's where we stand on videoing. I did attend the open space meeting, and the main item of discussion, as Dr. Chase indicated, was about deer hunting in our parks. Where there are two parks that we closed down for an entire day, actually for multiple days, to allow for deer hunting. I want to make it clear, the reason we do that is not for recreation for deer hunters. It is a cheap way for us to try to control the deer herd, which in my opinion, so I'm going beyond notes of the meeting, I'm giving my opinion, that's a responsibility. We buy open space, we buy land and make it open space, so we are now stewards of that land, and we need to take care of the land and take care of the rest of the town. And one responsibility of us is to control the deer population. Trails had already voted to maintain the current schedule, which includes whole days that the trails are shut down, roughly 70 days. And Open Space voted for a modification of that to allow the middle of the day to be open to the general public. It is my feeling, as Dr. Chase alluded to, that it is appropriate at our next council meeting to have a council discussion item on that. Our open space consultant can present, and we can allow perhaps 2 minutes a speaker to speak on that, so that others of the public can express their concerns, and then council can make a decision as to where we're going to go with that. We have to do that fairly soon in order to prepare for the next year. As far as our anti-transco efforts, anti-206 efforts, the committee had asked for permission to appear at the farmers market, and that appears that will be quite possible. You'd be given, almost as if you were a vendor there, your own space. We ask that you kind of stay in there, not run around and with your clipboard and try to get people, but hopefully people will come up to you. And the decision seems to be you can do that every week that you want to do that. The farmers market people said, well, they want one group at a time, but we consider this very important. So have success there, please. We also are entertaining, or I discussed with the manager, putting an ad in Franklin Times to ask for interveners. We want to move this forward. It's critical to us, and we are interested in helping it move forward. The main discussion of financial oversight was about the CDBG grants, and I'll let the manager fill you in on details. And I think a workforce development program would be a fantastic idea. We have to be careful with the venue, et cetera. There's a lot of considerations there, but creating jobs, what could be more important than that, except maybe stopping compressor 206. And that is what I have. We can move on now to the manager.